Hey, 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 what's going on, everybody? What is going on? Tom Davis here. Thank you guys so much for joining me live today. When you guys get in here, leave me a comment, leave me a like this video, let me know you guys are here. I'm going to go over a topic of can you love your dog too much? It's very overlooked. I see almost all the behavioral cases that I work with outside of genetic issues stem from this question. So I'm going to go over it, we're going to discuss it, and then at the end we're going to do a Q&A. So it's Sunday. I just got done with doing my online set or my out-of-state sessions at the facility at the Upstate Canine Academy. So I just got done, just got home. I'm having a Unicorn Kisses polar seltzer, but I want to get into talking about can you love your dog too much? And so it's kind of a trick question because, of course, you can't love your dog too much. It's how you love your dog. And hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys so much for hopping on here. This is fun. I wish I could see you guys. It sucks that I can't. I wish I could see all you guys hanging out with me. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. So as you guys know, may or may not know, I primarily deal with behavior modification. So I work with dogs with behavioral issues. I work with dogs who have a tendency to be potentially aggressive or reactive or anxious or whatever. So I don't do a lot of basic obedience and things like that. It's really behavior modification based. That's what I love to do. And so a lot of the cases that come in, guys, primarily are a relationship issue. So a lot of people, when they get their dog, the first thing they want to do is to give them love and attention and affection and nice beds and good food, and all of that's great. But one of the biggest missing components there is making sure that you're able to give the dog structure, give the dog discipline. And I always say, like the quote I usually say is turn the love down, turn the leadership up. Because a lot of the cases that I do work with is the relationship is really imbalanced. So the dog loves you and you love the dog, but you don't have good structure, you don't have good leadership skills, you don't have the ability to have a great relationship with the dog on a balanced situation. So if you talk about, when you get a puppy or you adopt a dog, again, like it's really easy for us to make sure that, we love the dog and we give the dog lots of attention and all that stuff. But what I see a lot of people doing is just they get this cute puppy or they adopt this dog that they don't really know and they feel bad for it and it gets very emotional. And what happens is there's no structure. So we either feel bad because they've been, at a shelter for a long period of time, or we feel like because they're puppies and they're cute, they don't need structure, they don't need discipline, they don't need guidance. We can just let them do whatever they want. And like I said before, guys, is some of the worst cases of dog aggression and reactivity and insecurities and anxiety has come from those types of situations where people treat their animals and their dogs like little babies, and they treat them like, whatever. It becomes really, it's not good. It's not good. And what happens is when dogs are born, they get structure immediately. So before they can even open their eyes and hear, their ears aren't even open, their eyes aren't open, their nose is barely working for the most part, and they're little, basically blind hamsters. And from the moment that they're born, they're getting told what they can and can't do. And mom is picking them up and telling them, hey, let's do this, let's do that. And then as they get older, they develop, and brothers and sisters are now arguing and fighting and playing and communicating. And they're being very, primitive, and they're being very instinctual with that. And then what we do is we get them and we throw all that out the window that mom just did for the last 8 weeks. And then we put them in a little scarf and a bow tie, and we take pictures with them. And none of that's bad. It's just we forget that they're animals. And then what happens is the dog gets anxious. And then the dog starts wondering, what am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here? I love you too, mom, dad, brother, sister, family. But what is my job? I'm a golden retriever. I'm a Dalmatian mix. I'm a black lab. I'm a dog. I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm sure of it. And it's not only about like getting your dog out and getting them maybe down to doing the things that you want them to do. However, it's just about doing something and having structure. And a lot of people just provide all that love and no structure. So I'm going to give you some tips on some things that you guys can do pretty much immediately to help provide that structure. And one of those things is create some exercises that allows you guys to be in the driver's seat. Create an exercise that allows you guys to take the steering wheel and have the opportunity to tell your dog what you want them to do. And it doesn't have to be, again, like with puppies, people just automatically assume because they're little and they're babies and they're cute, they don't need to do anything. They're just cute and we'll wait until 6 months until there's a problem. And then we'll call Tom or we'll call another trainer and see what the heck happened. So some things that you can do with a puppy or a dog, any dog right now, you guys can do right now after this live, of course, is start creating boundaries and structure through thresholds. So get your dog on a leash, go to the front door, side door, gate, whatever you normally go in and out with your dog, put them into a sit. And a lot of times, guys, when dogs come in, I say, what does your dog know? Oh, they know sit, down, heel, whatever. And here's a good test for you guys to do before we talk about the thresholds. Why don't you ask yourself the question is, will your dog sit if you ask them to sit? And I'm not talking about putting their butt on the ground for 2 seconds and then getting back up. And I'm not talking about my dog will only sit for food. I'm talking about if you turn and you say, hey, Fido, sit. And the dog puts their butt down and then you look this way and you look that way and then they immediately get up. That's a problem in your overall obedience and your, I guess, just your structure alone. Is we want dogs to do things for us for longer periods of time. We don't want them to just check in, check out, check in, check out. I'm going to do it for 2 seconds. So we get really sloppy with our training as well. And we let dogs have a lot of opportunities to make decisions. And when you have dogs make decisions, they become insecure. And that's one of the biggest reasons why dogs create dog anxiety and stress and potentially aggression or reactivity is we're not consistent with them. We're not serious with the things that we want them to do. Again, it goes back to work. So anyway, getting back to the threshold stuff is you ask your dog to sit if they know sit, and then you grab the gate or you grab the door or the slider and then you open it. And then immediately what's going to happen normally, guys, is your dog's going to get up and they're going to say, oh, I'm out of here. And so it has to do with a lot of them on their terms. And that's very common for those things to happen. And so that's one area you guys can literally start right now on, is to start working on those thresholds and start working on just taking control of small little things in your relationship with your dog that you do every single day. It's not hard. It's not a big deal. You just say, sit. The dog sits. Normally, guys, we go and we grab the door or the handle or whatever, and the dog pops up. So there's two things that are going wrong there. Is the dog isn't sitting because they're on to the next thing, and you don't have that respect and that structure and that understanding that sit means sit. So as soon as they think that they're going somewhere, they pop up and they're checked out and they immediately just say, okay, I'm out of here. So as you guys know, I'm really big about like analogies and trying to give you guys better information and digestible information. And it's basically like being a parent or an uncle or an aunt or, just somebody that's in charge of somebody. And you say, hey, you got to go to timeout or something like that. And then you send them to their timeout, and then they literally step 2 feet into the timeout area, and then they come right back out. So that's like part of that structure of making sure that you can take charge. And that's like a really easy way that you guys can start developing a better relationship with your dog or your puppy, is to just create those small little boundaries. And I always talk about micro, macro, much like exercising and things like that. Like these little things that you do every single day is going to create a really big picture for you and your dog. So put your dog into a sit, go and grab that handle. They're probably going to pop up. Boop. They're ready to go. And they say, okay, let's go. Nope. You put them back into a sit. You grab the handle again. Poop. They pop back up, right? Nope. Back into a sit. And you work on that until you can open the door, open it, hold it, and then break them through. So anyway, I'm going to take a sip of my unicorn kisses here. If you guys are here, go ahead and like this video. We have almost 300 people in here. So grateful for all of you hanging out with me on this Sunday. Like this video while I take a sip of some unicorn kisses. I don't even know why it's called unicorn kisses, but it's pretty good. Anyway, so we're gonna get into some questions here in a little bit, guys. But I want to just make sure you guys understand that. Again, I'm talking from a place of somebody who takes information in from people from all over the world with my online school and people traveling to me to work. I'm telling you that one of the biggest problems people have is not giving their dog enough structure, not giving their dog enough boundaries. They just open the door, you ask a dog to sit or down, and they do it for 4 seconds, they pop up, and then they're gone. So you got to create more of a duration with these things, and that's why the break command is so big, and it's something I work on in almost all of my training, is telling a dog to break and just telling them, hey, see you later, you can do whatever you want, I don't care, that's all good. But having that distinguishing difference between work and play is really, really big. And I can tell you guys, like for an example, I'm going to talk about this in a second because I get questions about me and my dogs all the time. And I want to give you guys a good story about me and my dogs that kind of surprises a lot of people, which I'm going to talk about. But I just want to be clear, the subject of this title of this video is, can you love your dog too much? There's a lot of unhealthy relationship with dogs that create a lot of stress and anxiety and fear and aggression with dogs simply because people don't think that dogs need a job. And by a job, that doesn't mean they have to go out and do search and rescue and be a cop or a dog or anything like that. That just means that you guys can right now, today, spend your Sunday or your Monday or whatever day it is you're watching this in the future or whatever. Spend some time just developing some really easy exercises with your dogs and literally just drive it in and be consistent. And what that does is the micro, right? So when I say micro, macro, guys, I mean your dog learns how to sit, your dog learns how to stay through a threshold. That's great. But the bigger picture is you're starting to develop a better relationship with your dog. You're starting to take the wheel and say, hey, you're not in charge, I am. And a lot of people have that misconception of like alpha and big and bad and my dog's so nice and my dog's so sweet. And that's great. My dogs are nice and sweet too, but I make sure that they understand that they have a role and they have a job. And I think that that's really, really, really overlooked. So I just want to be clear on the title of the video and make sure you guys understand that that's what I'm talking about, of that love and only love is one of the best ways to completely disconnect with your dog. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen. If you love your dog too much and you don't give them structure, leadership, guidance, and a job, they literally will, that's the best way to just disconnect. And what happens is as you guys see in my videos, and the first thing that I do is I say, hey, I want to see where you're at with your dog, right? If you guys watch any of my videos, it doesn't matter if it's a basic obedience, e-collar, aggression, whatever. I say, I want to see where you're at with your dog. It's not a test. I want to analyze where you guys are at. And people will grab that leash and they go out and the dog is completely disconnected. 2 videos ago, 2 uploads ago, I did that in the video. I said, I guarantee you, if you let go of your leash, your dog's going to keep going and you don't matter. And that happens all the time. So you just want to make sure that like when you're out with your dog and you're working, that you can say, hey, pay attention. Like I matter. And then what happens, guys, is especially in our out-of-state program, we have a dog-friendly hotel right down the road, and people come from all over and they stay there for a couple nights, and we do 5 sessions. And after the second session, almost every single time, people will say, hey, my dog is so much just calmer. You see dogs coming in my videos, guys, where they're just like this. They're bouncing all over the place and they're hitting the camera and they're trying to see the other dogs, and them and their owners are just completely disconnected. And all of that, your dog is happy, your dog loves you, you love your dog, but you don't have to me, I see that and I go, oh, that's not good. That's not good. And again, it's like, it's not, your dog is just not in a good place. You don't have balance. You don't have structure. Your dog is just like, what do I do? 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 Who are you? What are you? What are you? And you just like, you could get rid of your dog tomorrow and they would go live the same life with somebody else. And after a week would be perfectly fine. So Anyway, I just want to make sure you guys understand that where I'm coming from is, of course, I have my dogs here. I have Thompson down here, my big Saint Bernard, and then I have Lakota. She's in her crate, and Lola's chilling in the truck. That's Lola, actually. But anyway, so you guys understand, like, I love my dogs so much. I love dogs in general. But one thing I see in common, like if I were to write a book, it would be like 3 pages of don't overlove your dog. Like, please give them structure. Please give them boundaries. Imagine just living a life where your kids are listening to you and paying attention to you. And it was just, go to the store, buy whatever you want, do whatever you want. Don't listen to me. You're the best in the world. Like, they love you, but after about 2 weeks, they're going to be like, their teeth are going to be falling out from cavities. They're not going to be showering. They're not going to be going to school. And of course, like as humans, we all go, oh my gosh, yeah, I would never let any of that happen. Of course, I'm going to give my kids structure and discipline. And if they take something and they smash it off the wall, they're going to get punished. And if they go to school and they spit on another kid or they steal something, like they're going to get punished because you care and because you want to teach them about what to do and what not to do. And it's the same thing with dogs, guys. They're animals. You literally have an animal with fur and a prey drive, and they're living with you. And if you don't provide that leadership and that structure for them, it's a nightmare. And then you wait until they're 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, or even people, I see it all the time walking around my neighborhood. People just think that their dog doing this is a way of life. And this is exactly like how they live their life every single day. And it's like, it's one way to live, but there's so many other ways to live. And I encourage you guys, and I hope that I empower you guys and maybe even inspire you guys to. And that's why I put content out, guys. You guys are, this is my Sunday. I have half days. This is a Sunday half day. So I love spending time with you guys and helping you, because I know that if you're taking some of this information and you're going home or you're sitting in your house now or whatever, and you're like taking a little bit and helping your dog and your relationship with your dog gets better, that means so much to me from the bottom of my heart. It's what I love the absolute most. So anyway, we're going to get into some Q&A questions here, but I need you guys to do me a quick favor. Like this video really quick, like it, and then you guys can leave a comment. If you don't have any questions, you guys can leave a comment. Let me know where you're from so I can say hi to you. And I'm going to take another sip of a unicorn kiss. Also, too, I want to just talk about the video I did with Netherlands. Cool. I want to talk about the video I did with Leo, the Doberman, Arizona, UK, Massachusetts, Brooklyn. What's up? Phoenix, Arizona. Awesome. UK. I'm trying to come to the UK, guys. Trying to work that out. Literally, like trying to do it in the spring, but coronavirus it is what it is. It's out of my hands, but sweet. Lots of Wisconsin, Ohio. Sweet. But Leo, I want to talk about that really quick. You guys keep telling me where you're from. I love seeing this because I go back and look all over the world. It's beautiful. Hello, everybody. Leo. So you guys know I just posted a video with Leo. If you guys don't know, he's the Doberman who went after me a lot. He is a very sweet dog. Very sweet dog. And I know that sounds silly, seeing the video of how aggressive he looks, but he has some really bad redirective issues. And, a comment I saw, which I always like to, you guys, I do this for you. I really do. Like, I love, this is like very artistic for me. It's something that I spend a lot of time on. I'm passionate about creating. I'm passionate about selling. I'm passionate about teaching you guys about dogs and trying to give you just free advice. And so anyway, so I saw somebody say, like, somebody mentioned something about the prong collar. A couple comments I saw about the prong collar being too low. One thing I want to say is, like, if I were to go back and do anything different with that case, and this is my most recent video. If you guys haven't watched it, it's on fire right now. It's going crazy on the internet. I would suggest going to watch it. There's a lot of good information in there. Bowling Green. I know where that is. So the only thing I would have done differently, and of course, guys, like, I am not perfect. The way that I train and all this, I mean, I've been doing this every day. I was born with something to work with animals for sure. I absolutely love what I do. But you know, there's things that I would always look back and do things differently, you know, from an outside perspective, which of course you guys know, watching videos on the internet, there's always a lot of opinions that get floated around. But in this case, when this dog is coming after me and all these things, I debated on, when you're working with an aggressive dog, the big rule number one that you really don't want to do, which I didn't comply to in this, because, and I'll tell you why, was you don't really want to use a prong collar when you have a dog that's coming after you or that's aggressive or gets really ticked off really quick. I know that. It's been ingrained in my brain for 10 years. I know that. However, we did have slip collars and dominant dog collars available, San Diego. But in this case, this dog was so powerful and so explosive on the leash, I couldn't get myself to use the slip collar because he was so powerful and we were working around other dogs and he was aggressive towards other dogs, and I just didn't want to lose control. So I used the prong collar for the most control, but looking back, I could have probably used a dominant dog collar. It wouldn't have made a difference in his behavior, I don't think. However, I have a responsibility when I produce content to thousands and potentially millions of people that I should have said that in the video, that normally I would have used a dominant dog collar, which is just a slip collar, because that aggression is triggered by that potential prong collar. So anyway, we're going to get into some questions. What's up, Devin? Australia, Portland. Awesome. Do I feed my dogs raw? Angel. Yes, I do. I feed my dogs raw. They're on a raw diet. The reason why I feed raw is because my Saint Bernard okay. And again, like, I'm a dog owner way before I'm a trainer, and I think that's what helps me resonate and with you guys as dog owners yourself. You know, you're not professionals for the most part, but my Saint Bernard Thompson, he's 11 years old, pretty good shape. It's an older age for a Saint Bernard. He's 145 pounds. He was eating 4 cups of kibble a day when he was a puppy and, you know, his adolescent years. And once I actually was referred to a raw diet by a holistic veterinarian, because veterinarians historically aren't really allowed to give raw food advice because they're not trained in it, and it's a little bit unregulated, so it's against what they should be doing with their practice. Anyway, just so you guys know, that's why veterinarians typically will not talk about raw, because they legally they can't a lot of times, depending on where you live. But anyway, he was eating 4 cups and he would poop like a garbage bag. Like, he would eat 4 cups and he would put out 4 cups, if you will. So when I switched him to raw, he eats like 4 pounds a day, and this is raw. So when we talk about raw, guys, this is like raw. So it's not, everyone thinks it's just like nasty raw chicken. It's not the case. It's raw vegetables. It's raw fruit. So these are vegetables and fruit and minerals and vitamins that are not, they're not cooked. So they have all the vitamins, just like with us. Like, if we cook our fruits and vegetables, or even whatever, a lot of the nutrients are taken out because of that. So raw doesn't always mean like a nasty skin piece of chicken. It means that it's raw, it's uncooked. So he gets all of the potential vitamins and nutrients that he needs. And now when he eats 4 pounds, which is like, you know, it's a big amount, and he'll probably poop like the size of this whoop a day. And that's not gross. I hope it's not gross to you guys, because it's part of life. But anyway, after that, I was like, okay, I'm feeding raw forever, because that's insane. Because all of the food that he was eating before was literally coming in and going out, coming in, going out. Now when he eats 4 pounds of raw a day, he literally takes it all in. Vitamins, he's healthy, he has a lot of energy. So yes, I feed raw. And as you guys know, like, you ask me a question, if I have, you know, the stamina to go in on it, I will. Let's see here. Lots of love from Maine. Thank you so much, Noel. I appreciate you very much. Do you have any advice to curb German Shepherd puppy biting? We've tried everything. Puppy biting. Sure, I'll get into that. So when your dog is biting, you have to understand that that's how they communicate. They just came from a bunch of brothers and sisters, hopefully, and they do this. That's all they know. That you're a dog to them. They don't know any different. You've literally taken them out of their world of being a dog and you've put them in a human world, and that's confusing and conflicting to them. So anyway, just realize that they're not being mean and they're not trying to attack you. They just, that's what it is. So you have to just extremities, like a lot of, okay, let me give you just some really brief things. A lot of people will do this, like when a puppy's biting you. Well, guess what this does as a puppy? They want to play. So don't do this. What I tell people to do is remove your extremities. So if they're trying to bite your hands and your fingers, just make a fist. And then they'll do this and they're like, oh, this kind of sucks. It's not that fun anymore. Oh, over 400 people in this live. Woo! Cool. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you haven't yet, you're just getting here, like this video. We're talking about puppy biting. But they try to bite you because they don't know what else to do. So don't give them your extremities. Don't pull away. The other thing you can do is as they're biting you is you can push their cheek in a little bit and they just kind of bite themselves. Like this kind of sucks too. And then you get away with that. Don't react. A lot of people react when that happens. So when you're doing this, don't, because a lot of people say like, oh, I want to scream when my puppy bites me, and it just, they want attention from you. They're puppies. They're babies. They want to play. And if they bite you and you go and you react, they're going to go, that got a good reaction out of you. I'm going to continue to do that. So don't retract. Don't do all that stuff. Jay Frank asked about my portions of my raw meals. I get mine prepackaged. So they actually come frozen, and it's all packaged. So if I had my freezer in here, I'd show you. But yeah, so it just comes together in one big tube, and it has all the vitamins, all the acids, all the vegetables, and all the raw meat, the bone, the liver, the organs. It all comes in one. So that's, a lot of people like put their own stuff in. I don't have the patience for that, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Okay, cool. These are some good questions, and bear with me, guys. I'm gonna be here for as long as I can, and we're gonna keep chatting. I appreciate you guys. Ross, any business advice for young trainers? Good question. I have a podcast, but I did a podcast episode like number 1 or 2. I would suggest listening to. But if you're a young trainer and you're getting into it, for me, I'd never do any of this for money. So that's the big thing, is do not get into dog training if you're seeking money, because it won't work out for you, especially in the first 5 years. That's for sure. So make sure that you're in it for the right reasons. Make sure that it's something that you love to do. But as far as business goes, be smart, be consistent. Make sure that when you're starting to train, make sure that you pick your path of training. There's 1,000 different ways that you can train. So make sure that you niche. Like for me, I'm a niche. Like if somebody says, hey, I want to do competitive obedience, they'll work with another trainer. They won't work with me. If there's a problem, that's me. So I stick to what I'm good at. I have a lot of information on other things, but I don't pretend like I know it all. I'm dog behavior and that sort of thing is my thing. So just make sure that when you're getting into business that you stick to what you know and stick to what makes you happy. I hope that helps. Yeah, so niche Jess trains dog says I'm in a niche in service dog training. That's perfect. So that really helps. And I think it helps too. Like it's just like a restaurant too, guys, is like when you get into like culinary stuff, if you specialize in something, people are going to come to you. And if you just focus on what you're good at and instead of trying to do everything, you won't get burnt out and you'll keep that fire alive within yourself. So it's a great point. Thank you, Jess, for chiming in and saying that. I appreciate you. What brand of raw food? I get raw organic, so I don't have like a national raw food company yet. I wish that there was one. I don't know of any. If you guys do, you can leave them in the comments. What's the name of my podcast? The No Bad Dogs podcast. It's actually been ranked like top 10 in the United States in the pet and animal industry for like the last year, which is insane. I don't put like a ton of time into it because it's an audio format. It helps a lot of people, but you can look it up on any podcasting platform on No Bad Dogs. Hello from Poland, sorry. Hello from Poland. Hello. What would be your advice for a 6-month-old German Shepherd that pulls on the leash and barks at other dogs and leash, but is friendly to them? So this is called leash reactivity. So I have I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I have probably 50 videos exactly on this. So I would go to my playlist, and under my playlist, you can look at like help on the leash or leash reactivity or aggression. And you can look at that. You have to teach the heel and you have to teach the leave it. If your dog is barking and reacting on the leash, and they're friendly, chances are they're frustrated and they want to get to the other dogs and they're disengaged with you completely, which is what we talked about in the beginning of this video. So, yeah, local farmers, talking about raw food kind of guys. Local farmers are good, local butcher shops, all that stuff. And there's like tons of groups that you guys can find that can help you and educate you. I know it's overwhelming. I do have a podcast on raw food with a raw food specialist. She talks about how crazy the pet food industry is and what's actually in your dog food, which will also make you want to switch to raw. So you could check that out on my podcast as well. I have 2 German Shepherd puppies who I believe play rough 16 to 13 weeks. Cool. Tips for improving recall. David, good question. Well, what I just, again, blanketly like read between the lines here, suggest for recall is just get along. Here's what a lot of people do, which fails the recall, is they do a sit and they do a stay and then they recall the dog. They recall the dog. They do a sit, they do a stay, they recall the dog. Don't do that. It's not realistic ever. Your dog's never going to be sitting there looking at you, waiting for them to call you when you need to call them. So when you're doing recall, get them out into their backyard in a semi-undistracted environment with like a 30-foot long line. Say their name, so voice inflection, hey, tell them, voice recognition, and then give them a pop on the collar if they don't respond. When they come to you, draw them out, come backwards, draw them out, and then pay them when they get to you. But don't like just stand there. A lot of people make this mistake where they stand here and they just go come, and then the dog's like, I'm not coming to that. That's boring as heck. I'm going to keep playing with the leaves. All right, I'm going to take another sip of some unicorn kisses. I also wanted to say I have another video coming out, I believe, on Tuesday. It's an absolutely beautiful video. And just so you guys know, I took like almost 2 weeks off, which is the longest. I love the unicorn emoji. That's funny. I took like 2 weeks off, which is like the longest I've ever taken off of YouTube with creating. And I lost my mind because I moved into a new house. So I have a brand new house that was custom built for us, which is beautiful. And I'm really grateful and appreciative of that. But that's why I was off the grid for a little bit on YouTube, just so you guys know. I wanted to let you know that I'm back. I am back, baby. This is why I wanted to we'll do a tour. If you guys want to do a tour, holler at me. I'll do a tour. It's awesome. But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that that's why I was off the grid for a week or two. I was uploading literally three videos every week, which is insane. And it was insane to me, but I love creating. So anyway, at the end of this video, I'll give you guys just a quick view of like our living area at the end of this. But anyway, let's get back to some questions after some unicorn kisses. If you guys are here and you haven't yet, do me a freaking solid favor, y'all. Like this video. Rebecca, that's a good question. I want to tackle this. Biggest piece of advice for working with unconfident pet owners or clients. So this is for dog owners and this is for trainers who as well. It's like both ends of the spectrum. Like when people seek you out, they're obviously looking for advice. They need help. They're dragon fire. I'm going to get back to that question. Ask me again. But when people are seeking you out and they need advice, they're obviously like having problems. So if they're not confident and you just have to tell them like, hey, if you become confident, these are the things that are going to change. If you're not confident and you're not able to help your dog and you're not able to like really push through and be a confident dog owner, then your dog probably isn't going to get better. So I really just give them like the ultimatum of like, hey, you need help, you want help, your dog needs help. If you can't become more confident and take the information in, it's going to be really hard for you to like get better. And so I really break it down. Like some people and some trainers and even some coaches in different fields are just like, you have to do this. And if you don't, you suck. I like to empower people to say like, hey, you really need to get better. And if you don't, I know that that sounds redundant, but if you don't, then there's some things that your dog's going to lack thereof, and just telling people how powerful dog training can be and how awesome it could be for their relationship with their dog, and just give them all the pros of what could happen if they do, and then immediately give them the cons of like, hey, if you don't listen and you don't like follow through, then you're not going to get better and you're going to be wasting your time and your money. And you've made the responsibility to take this dog into your life, and you have to step up to the plate when there's a problem. You can't just dump it and just say, hey, or have that serious heart to heart with them and say, maybe this dog isn't for you and maybe you should get a hamster or something. That's what I do. Where do I get a slip collar? I have a DIY slip collar training video on my YouTube channel. Watch it. It's a good one. Did you see the reaction video from Do Touch My Dog video? Nope, I don't watch reaction videos. I put content out for you guys, not other people, to try to gain numbers off of other people's contents. That's pretty whack. Okay, yeah. Angel Rivera. So online seminars. Somebody else asked this too. Online seminars. Thank you. So if you guys like know of any platforms that, 'cause here's the problem with online seminars is because I was supposed to do like a tour. I was supposed to do that. Like we're growing, we're creating, people are requesting me all over, and which is freaking awesome. But the problem, and I want to help, but the problem is like with the online stuff is I don't really know a platform that I can do that on. So if you guys have any platforms, like DM me on Instagram at Tom Davis, and just let me know like, hey, this is how other people do it in other areas of the fields, and this is how you can get in front of this many people and things like that. Because that's what I want to do. Is we're actually in the process of right now closing on, potentially, knock on wood, closing on a big property with lots of opportunities to do a lot of different things. And so if you guys have any information, just shoot it to me either here or on DM, because I'd love to do that. I'd love to sit down and do this, but with dogs, and answer your questions and actually put it into a module where you guys can actually sign up for classes and we can go over the things. I can work with dogs and answer your questions as we go. The problem with Zoom is, well, I guess there is no problem with Zoom. However, I just haven't dug into like how many people I can see on the screen at once, because that's the biggest problem is, say we did 50 people, I don't know if I'd be able to like see everybody and answer everyone's questions. So we'll talk about that at a different time, but I'm definitely searching because I want to help you guys. I want to reach out. I want to connect. So let's talk about that. If I have anxiety, am I making my dog anxious? Yes, you could. You just have to make sure that you're relaxed. Your breathing and your leash pressure are the biggest things with that. So just make sure that you're not like choked up on your dog all the time. I have a Great Pyrenees, Anatolian Shepherd, that resource guards. That makes sense, Andrew. Those are two very, very, very protective breeds. My girlfriend, I don't know how to correct him. Well, first of all, I would hire a professional dog trainer. The 30 seconds to a minute I'm about to give you is not going to necessarily put you over the edge and solve this issue. So the first thing I would do when you're dealing with this, hire a dog trainer for sure. Do your research, look at reviews, make sure they're comfortable with working with a large breed with resource guarding issues. But one of the best ways to do is just teach them leave it outside of that protective stuff. So if your dog knows leave it outside of actually literally like being protective over something, then that's a leverage that you can use. So maybe using some food or using a toy or something that you can teach leave it. As far as tools go, I would recommend just a dominant dog collar or a slip collar. Make sure you get a slip collar that actually is fitting properly. And yes, so that's what I would do is teach leave it, use a slip collar, use a 4-foot leash, and work on that. I am planning on I'm going to visit the UK. I'm going to do a seminar, and it's going to be awesome. It's already in the works. We got a location. Everything's set. We just have to wait for the coronavirus to not do what it's doing. Unfortunately, that's obviously out of everyone's control, but my dog's scared of other dogs and people. How do I help him not be scared? Well, again, if this is like severe, hiring a trainer is the best thing. But what I would do is do the best you can to do the best you can to advocate for your dog. One of the biggest problems with dogs who are insecure and fearful of strangers is people don't advocate for their dogs enough. So if somebody comes up to you and your dog asking to pet your dog, you simply say, my dog is in training. Or like what we talk about in our trainers together, we always talk about this, is you just run away. Literally just ignore them, pretend you're deaf, and just run away. Don't just tell them, hey, nope, sorry, he's in training. You don't have to like make a big sad story, and you don't have to like do this whole thing. You just literally just go, just walk away. Just, it's not rude. It's rude for people, and it's selfish for people to come up and do this to your dog that they don't know, and then they do this. So anyway, run away. Literally just go the other direction. Tell people that they're in training. I had a question. Toronto, Canada, guys. Again, it's been like Canada, UK, Australia, and then like the United States. I am working on it. I'm doing the best I can. But what you guys can do in the meantime is, if you guys haven't yet, turn on your notifications on my YouTube channel. You guys don't realize, like, when we do the giveaways and stuff, which we're announcing tomorrow, like when I say letter by letter by letter, you guys have to like do letter, enter, letter, enter. I see a lot of people like not being able to enter into the comments because they do letter in the same thing. You have to do letter, enter, letter, enter. So make sure that you guys help each other out in the comments and explain that to people. But you guys sharing this on Facebook groups and sharing this on social medias and tagging me helps build. Like, we're building like a really cool community organically. I don't pay anybody to do advertising for my channel. I don't, like, you and me, and the work that we do is helping other people. Like, you guys don't realize you're part of the help. It's not just me, it's you guys too. Like, if you see the video and you see people of saying like, oh, this has helped me so much, and you know, people are talking about it or whatever, like, you guys help that. You guys like, you comment, you share, you tell other people. If you guys want to support me and like help build like a bigger, stronger community with the No Bad Dogs movement, you don't have to do it right now. You guys don't have to do it right now. It's okay. You don't have to do it right now. You don't have to do, I love it. You guys automatically do that. That's great. You don't have to do it right now. I'm just saying, like, in the future, when we do those giveaways, a lot of people don't get entered because they don't enter properly. And the reason why we do that is for engagement, to get to get more people involved with the No Bad Dogs movement. Cause I really strongly believe in like what I do. And I want people to like see results and get help. There's a lot of channels out there. I really just stay in my own lane, guys. Like, I'm not in a race and in competition with anybody. I do my own thing. But I do know that a lot of my clients come in and they say, I watched these other people and I went to this other trainer and none of it made sense, and you've helped me so much, which is great. I'm really grateful. I'm sure there's a million other dog trainers out there just like me. But you guys, we're building a really strong community, and I appreciate you guys. So anyway, just in the future, like, share to Facebook groups, to Instagram, to just keep rising. Like, let's keep growing and growing. So what should I do when my two dogs start growling at each other? One is kind of in the face of the other. Yeah, it's a great question. So again, advocate for that. You have to advocate for the other dogs, just like kids. Like, if big brother or big sister or whatever is picking on somebody else, you have to step in and go, hey, knock it off. That's inappropriate. So your place command, sending your dog away. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Sending your dog away, telling your dog to leave it, etc. So anyway, so yeah, advocate for your dog. Don't be afraid to do that. What's the best way to calm an excited dog down? Just don't be afraid to use your leash on in the house. Whenever I tell people just put your leash and your collar on in the house, people are like, you can do that? You're like, yes. Your leash is your communication. Use it in the car. Use it in the house. Use it while you're walking. Don't forget that. E-collars under 150, I don't know of. It's the only unfortunate thing about like e-collar training, in my opinion, is like you have to invest in a good collar. So you can get used ones. I would recommend just looking at used ones. A lot of people get them and don't use them. A lot of people get really good deals that way. Seattle, what's up? Texas, yes, guys, I'm yes. You guys keep commenting and growing with us. We're gonna take over the freaking world, and I'm gonna be everywhere. Ultimately, what I want to do is get a tour bus and travel all over. That's what I want to do, just like a traveling music artist, and do a performance and do a seminar in every state. I'd love to do that. I'm gonna keep working hard, and hopefully we can keep growing to make that happen. But you guys help that for sure. I appreciate it, guys. All the love and support, and you guys telling everybody about the channel. E-collar correction tips. That's a little iffy here on the thing because it's so involved. I would recommend looking at some of my other videos because it goes into depth. Dustin, I'm starting to work off leash with my German Shepherd. He's constantly coming when called, but he only does a drive-by. So basically, this is something a lot of people have a problem with. So Dustin's saying that when he recalls his dog, he just comes and he runs by him, or he checks in. I call it checking in, where they come and they just tap you and then they run away, kind of like tag. So you have to teach that. So like a lot of people don't realize that when you teach the recall, if you want them to do a specific thing, like come and sit right in front of you, like a traditional like front or something, you have to teach that. So if you have a long line on and you're doing the recall, so here's the best way to do that is if your dog is really sloppy with that like recall and they're coming and they're just checking in, teach them a touch. So teach them like to touch on a pad outside of the recall. Teach them to touch on a pad outside of the recall. So teach them touch, yes, good touch, yes, good touch. Spend a couple days doing that. Then what you do is you teach the recall and you put the touch right in front of you, and then you touch and then you pay them in front of you, and you condition them that that's the new recall. So when they come to you, they get into a condition that they actually come right in front of you, and you pay them. Work on that. So I would teach that's what I would do. Or you can do the finish command, which I've done before on my channel. Let's use the front command since 7-week-old puppy. Yeah, the front command's good. Oh my gosh, over 400 people actively in here. Hi from Germany. Oh, Germany. So I just had a client come in, and they brought me a bunch of German beers, which I was really excited about because I love Germany and I love beer, and I love unicorn kisses. Yes, I've worked with Catahoulas. Any tips for a 4-year-old GSD barking at anyone who I talk to? Yep, correct it. I mean, if your dog is doing something you don't like and you want it to change, how are they supposed to know that? You got to disrupt it. You got to correct it. You got to teach them. Just like with kids and human behavior, if there's no punishment, there's no discipline, there's no like, hey, that's inappropriate, it's never going to change. Can you briefly explain how your online sessions work? Yes. An online session is literally like what we're doing right now, guys, that you sign up for as I talk to you directly, just like we're talking to, except it's face-to-face normally. And it's all about you and your dog. It's a great service. It's in the description on all of my videos, including this one. You just click the link in the description and you sign up, and you pay for my time to work with you here in my at-home office usually. And what's up? Long Island. The best bagels come from Long Island. Everybody knows that. The best wings come from Buffalo, and everybody knows that too. And I love bagels and I love wings. But anyway, yeah, so online services, it's just like this, except without 500 people in here. It's just me and you, and we talk about everything you want to do. There's also on my website, there's also a video that goes over my online sessions as well. So just dig a little bit and you'll find way more research than what I just gave you. Easiest breed to train that I've worked with? Great question. Easiest breeds, my 2 favorite breeds to train, Pit Bulls and Labrador Retrievers, because they're so eager to please, they're so responsive, and all they want to do is just love people and do what they want them to do. So Pit Bulls and Labs are my favorite. Okay, let's see. Hi, my 1-year-old Blue Malinois is very obedient at home, but outside territory not. How do I... Well, that's just a transitional thing. So that's where the rubber meets the road. So a lot of people have that problem where they go, hey, my dog listens, except when we're in reality. It's an obedience issue. So that means that you haven't transitioned your obedience properly yet. So you just have to make sure that you're transitioning that properly. So it just takes a little bit of time, but you have to make sure that you're copying and pasting all the hard work that you developed inside in non-distracted environments and then outside. Are more trainers learning to be more balanced, or are they still pretty dominant, positive only? Good question, Brian. Like I said, I stay in my lane, and I started to work with dogs very organically. I never was like, hey, I want to be a dog trainer. It was something that I fell into because I was handling dogs since I was a baby, and when I was a kid. And I didn't realize that there was a political side to it until I started, really diving into it. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's more balanced dog trainers than there are purely positive trainers. Balanced dog trainers don't spend all of their time promoting all of the things that they do. They just train. That's my opinion anyway. So I think it seems more like there's more purely positive trainers, but again, purely positive is a decision to use only one quadrant of the four quadrants of how dogs understand and learn, which is to me a disadvantage to your clients and the dogs you're trying to help. So I think that there's areas for both, and I think it's I think it's about equal. But anyway, do you think golden doodles are stubborn? No, no. Best first dog breed for my 5-year-old son. Go to the shelter, find a dog that wants a home. That's going to be the best breed for you. That's what I would do. That's my advice. I would take that to the grave. Don't do anything different. Any advice on helping with dogs and their interactions with babies? Good question. Dogs don't know what babies are. They get, and vice versa, obviously. They get very insecure. They get weirded out by the way they smell and the way they sound. So having obedience is really big. If you're unsure of how your dog's, if you have a dog that is literally like, I don't know, is literally like just over the top submissive and wouldn't hurt anything, you're going to be okay. But if you have a dog that you're unsure of, you have to advocate not only for your dog, but your dog came probably first and whatever, but you have to make sure that you are developing a good set of obedience and maybe even muzzle training and conditioning your dog. A couple of questions about the four quadrants. I did a video on that. It's a little in more in depth. You guys can check that out about basically, I think it's called Should I Punish My Dog or something? I'm not sure. Dogtra 280C or 1900S, which is the best for a King Corso? They're both good. 1900S is going to be a little bit more powerful, and it's going to go a little bit further. So if you want the 1900S, it's going to give you a little bit more oomph, but the 280C is solid all the way through. My puppy doesn't listen to me if I don't have a treat on hand. That's because I have a video on that, and it's called Get Your Dog to Listen Anywhere, I think. So check that out. It goes over why dogs only listen for food, and a lot of it comes down with the training. If you start off training your dog solely with food and solely with that motivation, the chances of them listening to you without that are very slim, which is why I have a really big problem. And the 95% of the clients that come to us just for obedience that I don't necessarily work with come from those training camps of food, and the dog goes out and it goes. And that's not my opinion. That's the reality of 95% of our clients, because it's frustrating for them and they need help. Are shock collars ever a tool that you'd use? I use remote collars. I'm a modern e-collar trainer. I would never put an e-collar on a dog and just nail them and correct them for things that they don't know what they're doing is wrong without a positive association. So I think, doing some research on what a remote collar is versus a shock collar, because there's a significant difference between the two. Can dogs understand a timeout? Great question. I think in our perception of a timeout, no. But I think sending your dog to a place when they're overly stimulated and they're making bad decisions, such as jumping on guests, knocking over dishes, being very excitable, I think if you send your dog to a place and it's something that you've taught over time, you're going to have a good opportunity of your dog understanding that they need to relax. So that's a great question. What should I do if my dog is fearful of people? I've already answered this once in this, but I'll do it again. Again, advocate for your dog, making sure people do not come up to your dog and telling them that your dog is not either friendly or your dog's in training, and you don't want them to. Anyway, just advocate for your dog. Tell people not to pet your dog, walk away, and I covered that a little bit earlier. When are you dropping the new merch? Hopefully next week. We have a whole new logo, which is freaking awesome. You guys may have seen it on our Instagram. We're doing like big prints of that. We're doing a lot of merchandise. And in the next year, we're really going hard on merchandise. So you guys can rep our Ireland. Hello from Ireland. I visit Ireland probably once a week with some Guinness. Are Bernese Mountain Dogs good for a first-time dog owner? Sure. Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. They're just big. Sometimes they're not even big. I've seen really small ones too. How do I get my dog to not jump on guests when they get at your house? This is the same question of how do I get my dog to start barking and how do I get my dog to stop pulling? And again, you have to teach them off and you have to correct them for what they're doing. Like I said, guys, I'm a dog owner. I surrounded myself with dogs my entire life, well before I worked with them professionally, and I paid people for my advice. And I can tell you that correcting and assertively saying that's inappropriate, I don't want you to do that anymore, is one of the best ways to control a situation and change and modify a behavior. So make sure that you correct it and make sure that you're very positive when they don't jump the next time. How do I fix dog aggression when I don't know anyone who has already well trained with? That doesn't make sense, but maybe I'm reading it wrong. I would suggest continue to do your research on finding a behavior modification trainer. How do you correct the dog from pulling on the walks? Just covered that. Teach them to heel. You can't see, that's the thing, guys, is you can't just go in and turn something off. Hey, my dog jumps, turn it off. My dog pulls, turn it off. You have to teach them. They're animals. They're not computers. You have to make sure that if they're doing something you don't want them to do, you have to teach them what you want them to do. If they're pulling, teach them heel. If they're jumping, teach them off. If they're not coming to you, teach them recall. You can't just turn things off. It's sometimes years of teaching dogs things to coexist properly. So you can't just turn things off. You have to work. You have to spend time. If it was that easy where you just ordered up an off switch for your dogs, I wouldn't have a job. 3-year-old German Shepherd, holy smokes, 3-year-old German Shepherd, whenever we let her out to the back door, as soon as the door cracks, she barges through. Again, I covered that in the beginning. I would go back up and watch that about the sit and the stay and the break. Teaching your dog thresholds and boundaries is really important. And I know you guys are just popping in. You didn't see the whole thing. So no hard feelings on my part. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying we covered that a bit in the beginning. You can check it out. What's your experience training a 5-month-old dog and kids? My experience, probably, I would say a lot, I guess, because a lot of my clients have kids, but that's my experience with it. It's a lot, I guess. No, it's no worries, man. No worries. Just check I covered that up in the other video. Southern California trainer you'd recommend and shadow if possible. That's one thing I want to do too, is I want to create a catalog of dog trainers across the country, because I get a lot of questions about different dog training. I don't know. The only people I know in California in general is, of course, the Michael Ellis camp, the Sonoma County, Sarah and Jess. I don't know if that's Southern or not, but Primal Canine in the Bay Area is also somebody I would recommend. And then, of course, if you guys have trainers that you guys recommend in Southern California, leave them in the comments for the individual that was looking. All right, I'm going to take a sip of this, and then we're going to do a couple more questions, and then I want you guys to do me a favor if you haven't yet and like this video, and go watch my last video about the aggressive dog that tries to go after me, because it's a good one. And I'm putting out another video, I think, on Tuesday, so make sure you guys turn on your notifications so you don't miss a giveaway. And we're on the verge of on the way to 300,000 subscribers, which is insane. I want to get there and then continue from there. So just make sure you guys like the video, leave a comment, support it, share it. Unicorn kisses. Good stuff. Okay. Do you offer dog training internships for new dog trainers? We do. We do like a shadow program. I think it's like 3 days. We just had somebody leave the other day and it was fun. So yes, we do that, absolutely. But we're gonna do more of that. Don't get drunk. It's seltzer. I wish it was beer, but it's not. We do offer that, but when we move into a new facility, which we're going to regardless if this one goes through or not, we're gonna do a school, and that's gonna be brilliant. And I want everybody that wants to learn to come and hang out, and that's gonna be awesome. We're gonna put together a school where you guys can come and hang out on a farm, and that's gonna be amazing. So I'll give you guys more information on that. I'm gonna take a couple more questions, and then I wanna show you guys, a lot of you guys asked for a quick tour. I'll just show you my living room and my area really quick. Do you think COVID is going to create less socialized dogs? Yes. Can I use a plastic pinch collar on a long-haired breed husky? You can. Just make sure it's fit tight and it's up high. Is it okay for my teen to rough play with our 11-month-old GSD? Just make sure it doesn't escalate. Whatever that dog does with your teen, they're going to want to do with other people. There's nothing wrong with the fact that I love my dog too much. Yep. My dog is friendly with other dogs if there's a barrier, but once that, she goes and snaps at them. Any advice? Could be just leash reactivity. So if your dog is just leash reactive and threshold and barrier, that could be possible. Just do the best you can to eliminate any barriers if your dog is friendly and they're going to meet other dogs. If you use the prong collar, can you go back to the flat? Absolutely. Do it all the time. What's your favorite thing to do when you're not training? Edit training. What age is too young for correction collars? Good question. It's hard to say. Every dog is different. Once the dog understands pressure and the dog understands how to shut pressure off and they understand escape training, you can pretty much use a collar. You don't want to use a collar on like a really young dog that doesn't know and they're floppy and they're just like, all over the place. You can really like ruin their drive like that. So at 6 months is like a good average, like 6 months is a great age for introducing collars, but you can do it earlier than that if the dog is ready for it. All right. Hi from Quebec, Canada. I have a 10-week-old puppy. Very smart. Do you have any advice for smart dogs? They're harder to train. Thank you for your content. You're welcome. I would say, yeah, just go out and do the best you can to make it fun. I don't think it's harder to train smarter dogs. I think you just have to literally, you have to just spend a little bit more time trying to figure out what makes them work. So if they're really engaged and they're having a lot of fun, I think that you have to get more creative. So just be creative and do the best you can to be resourceful with the things around you, and just, I don't know, that's my suggestion. I hope that helps. What dogs do you have? I'll show you my dogs, you guys. So Lola is here. Lola's my mix. She's in the truck right now, but I'll show you, and then I'll show you guys a little bit of my house really quick. But this is Thompson, so he's chilling. He's sleeping. That's 95% of what he does. And then this is Lakota, so she's my Dutch Shepherd. She's in a little ball right there, but so I have him and I have her, and then I have Lola, which is in the truck right now. But I'll show you guys really quick my new house. We're still kind of moving and whatever, but this is like the new digs. So anyway, vaulted ceilings, wood stove, fireplace, all that stuff. So it's not done yet, but we just moved into it and we're really happy, and it gives me a nice new space to be creative. And anyway, so I'm excited to like expand and do other things. Anyway, all right, it's been a little over an hour. I am getting tired here. I want to thank you guys so much for hopping on here. Make sure you guys like this video, support the channel, turn on your notifications, go check out my new video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on here. We'll do this again. If you guys want to do this again when I post this, leave a comment in the comments and let me know, and we'll do it. I love it. I love hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. We're the coolest. dog training channel on YouTube. Thank you guys. I'm signing off. Gracias. Danke. Bye guys. Have a good day. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to finish my unicorn kiss.